Alhamdulillahi wa kafa. Wa salamun ala ibadihi allazina astafa amma ba'd. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Rabbi inni lima anzalta ilayya min khairin fakir. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun. Wa salamun ala al-mursaleen walhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala ali Sayyidina Muhammadin wa barik wa sallim. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala ali Sayyidina Muhammadin wa barik wa sallim. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala ali Sayyidina Muhammadin wa barik wa sallim. We are continuing with our series on the prayers of the righteous. This is a series where we're looking at the du'as which are mentioned in the Quran. And these du'as are a treasure for all of us. These du'as are beneficial for us in terms of dunya. They're also beneficial for us in terms of akhirah. Just the fact that we are able to make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is a tremendous blessing of Allah ta'ala. Normally we have this misunderstanding that we turn to dua as a last resort. We first try to utilize everything in the world that we have. And then as a last resort, when nothing works out, then we turn to dua. In fact, if you look at the deen of Islam, dua should come right at the start of any activity. Even before we begin any activity, we should turn to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in dua. Dua is not the spare wheel of our life. Sometimes when you're driving in the car, the tire becomes flat, so you have a spare wheel. Dua is not meant to be the spare wheel. Dua is supposed to be the steering wheel of our life. That even when everything is going smoothly, we still were supposed to turn to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and make dua. And the reason is because just the act of making dua itself, that is an act of ibadah. Ad-du'a huwal ibadah. Ad-du'a mukhul ibadah. It's the essence of ibadah. That a person, they do ruju, they turn to Allah and they present their needs before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There is a display of humility when a person turns to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in dua. So even when a person is asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for something in this world, for a job, for a career, for a car, for a house, that time that we are utilizing in making dua, that entire time is written down as an act of ibadah. So we should understand how important making dua is, that at the very least, even if that dua is not accepted in the way that we're asking for it to be accepted, the entire time which we spend in making dua, that time is written down as an act of worship in our book of deeds. Ad-du'a huwa al-ibadah. And then, why wouldn't Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept our du'as? Surely when Allah ta'ala has promised in the Quran that ud'uni astajib lakum, that make dua to me and I will accept. So this is a promise that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is making to us in the Quran. We should not have any misgivings about this promise. Rather, we should make dua with certainty that Allah ta'ala will accept our du'as. So whatever we are asking for, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give that to us as well. So there is a double benefit. That one, you get what you're asking for. Allah ta'ala will give that to you in this world. And then you also get a reward in akhirah because you're doing an act of ibadah. And in fact, those people who are able to master this act of making dua, meaning that they always ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they always continually, they persist in asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They ask Allah ta'ala for all of their needs, from the smallest to the biggest. They're asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala all the time, and they only ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, no one else. This person can become the beloved of Allah. This person can become the friend of Allah, a wali of Allah, just by this act of making dua, kasrat dua. And truly in our times, the shortest way to get close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the easiest way to draw close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and perhaps the best way to draw close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is to develop a habit of making duas to Allah. Not just one dua, two duas, but abundant duas, kasrat dua. And not just one day, 2 day, but every day, having a portion of the day, portion of the night, where we turn to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and we make duas to Allah ta'ala. And we make duas not just, we are reciting from a book. Duas are not meant to be recited. Duas are meant to be made from our heart. It's not just meant to be recited from our tongue or our lips. We're supposed to make duas with our heart. Heartfelt duas. Duas with humility. Duas where the heart is present. With presence of the heart. So we should use this opportunity. This month of Ramadan is a month of dua. It's a month where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes it easy for us to turn towards Him because of this ibadah of fasting, where each one of us, we're fasting 13, 14 hours every day. And because of that, naturally, the heart becomes soft. The darkness goes away, the blackness goes away, the corruption goes away, the crust and the rust on the heart, that begins to go away. And when the heart becomes soft, the heart naturally inclines towards the remembrance of Allah. The heart naturally inclines towards Allah Ta'ala. It becomes easy for us to turn to Allah in du'as. So, and plus, we also have these golden opportunities every day. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accepts the du'as that we make at the time of iftar, when we break our fast. Whatever du'as we make at that time are accepted. Similarly, whatever du'as we make in the suhoor time, they're also accepted. So we should ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this blessed month, by the barakah and the mercy in this month, that Allah give us that delight in making dua. Give us that shock, that passion, that desire, that inkling to make duas to you. Give us that tawfiq that we can make ourselves, we can present ourselves to you, we can make duas to you. Not everyone gets this tawfiq. Not everyone, it's making dua does not come automatically. Right? Sometimes people, they struggle to make dua. They struggle to make dua for 2 minutes, 5 minutes. This is a blessing from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We need to ask Allah ta'ala for this blessing. In fact, one, I think it was Hafiz Ata'ullah ibn Iskandari rahmatullah alayh, in his book Kitabul Hikam, he mentions that for that individual for whom Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loosens his tongue, meaning that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loosens his tongue to make dua, that is a sign of favor from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that Allah ta'ala wants to accept the duas of that individual. And that is why He has loosened the tongue. That is why He has given tawfiq in the first place. Because Allah wants to accept. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not want to accept our duas, He would not give the tawfiq in the first place for us to make that dua. This is a sign of qubuliyah, a sign of acceptance, a sign of big favor from Allah, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us this tawfiq, that now we are able to make duas to Him, that our tongue loosens up, we get those words, we get those feelings, and we are now asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is a very big blessing from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we should ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for more of this blessing in this month. That Allah make me such that I can make good duas to you. I can make those duas which are pleasing to you. Grant me the tariqah, the way to make duas. And who are we when the Prophet ﷺ himself used to make this dua? That Allahumma inni as'aluka khayral mas'alati wa khayral du'ai wa khayral ijabati. That, oh Allah, I ask you that you teach me the best of du'as. You teach me how to make the best of du'as. You teach me those du'as which are accepted by you. acceptable du'as. So we should ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for this, that may Allah give us this zawq and this desire, this shock, this passion for making du'as in this month, and not just this month, throughout our whole life. May Allah ta'ala make us make this our identity. That truly Allah says that antumul fuqara, that each and every one of you, you are fakir before Allah. You are needy of Allah. You are dependent on Allah. You're muhtaj, you're fakir. And that really is our identity. And if that is our identity, then this means that we should be asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala every day, asking Allah ta'ala for every need that we have, asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for small and big, asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala all the time. Because that's what a beggar does. That's what a needy person does, that they ask for all of their needs. And that's what our identity is. That's what Allah loves. That individual who turns to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for all of their needs, that person becomes the beloved of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give all of us the tawfiq in this month, that we can turn to Allah ta'ala in du'as and abundant du'as, and may Allah give us this taste and zawq and shock, this passion of making du'as in this month and throughout our life. Now the next du'a that we are looking at is a very beautiful du'a, a du'a of Hazrat Musa alayhi salatu wassalam. And it's also a du'a of incredible humility, incredible abdiyat, servitude. It's a du'a of bandagi, it's a du'a of humility, of humbleness before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. A beautiful du'a and a very noble du'a, very exalted du'a in the Quran. So what is that du'a? Rabbi inni lima anzalta ilayya min khairin fakir. That, oh my Rabb, my Rabbi, my Lord, my Rabb, my cherisher, my nourisher, my nurturer, that being who has raised me up from the moment that I was born and given and fulfilled all of my needs and led me now to this stage of where I'm in, this stage of perfection. That being is responsible for fulfilling all of these needs that I have in every single moment of my life. That's the being, that is Rabb. So we're calling Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and invoking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with this nisbat, with this relationship, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is our Rabb, that He is our caretaker. He is the provider for all of our needs. Rabbi, inni lima anzalta ilayya min khairin fakir. That indeed, Allah, whatever good, whatever khair that you would send down upon me, I am needy of that. I'm needy of whatever khair and good that you will send down upon me. Now, in order to understand the depth of this dua, it's necessary to know the context, the historical context in which Sayyidina Musa ﷺ made this dua. So first we look at the context, and then inshallah we look at the actual words itself. So this is a story that most of you may know already, that Sayyidina Musa ﷺ, he was raised up in the palace of Fir'aun. That was the izn, the command of Allah Ta'ala, the plan of Allah Ta'ala. And then as Sayyidina Musa ﷺ, he grows up in the palace of Fir'aun, he becomes a young man. And one day he was going somewhere and he saw that there was a person from the tribe of Bani Israel. And Bani Israel was an oppressed tribe at that time. Fir'aun and the people of Fir'aun, they used to do many nasty things. They used to oppress the people of Bani Israel. So Sayyidina Musa al-Islam is walking on the street and he sees that there's some people from Fir'aun, some people from the side of Fir'aun, the Kiptis, the Coptics. They they were holding a person from Bani Israel and they were oppressing him. They were hitting him, oppressing that person of Bani Israel. So this person of Bani Israel, he saw that Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam is passing by. So he requested for help. He called upon Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam and asked for help, asked for support, asked for any assistance, that help me, otherwise these people will kill me. So then Hazrat Musa alayhi salatu wasalam, he stepped there, and there was this one Coptic who was holding that Bani Israel man. So Hazrat Musa alayhi salam, he punched him. And the intention was so that he would let go, so that he would free this person, this Bani Israel person. So the intention was not to kill him, but simply the intention was to help this person of Bani Israel. But because Sayyidina Musa was very strong, Allah Ta'ala had blessed him with a lot of strength. So when he punched him, that person, he died on the spot. That Coptic, that person from the Pharaoh side, he died on the spot. And in one sense, Sayyidina Musa he had committed, accidentally, he ended up killing that person. This was accidental. This was not deliberate. But because this was the time of Pharaoh, and Pharaoh was ruling, and Pharaoh was known for his zulm, was known for his tyranny, for his oppression, for his transgression. So Sayyidina Musa became fearful about himself, that if news reaches out, then Pharaoh would want to kill him. And right at that time, there was this one person who actually came to Sayyidina Musa and said that you should leave. You should leave this city, because now people have found out about this. People have found out about this murder, about this fact that this person has been killed. So you should leave. You should leave this place. And Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam, when he realizes that now this has become open news and people now know, and Pharaoh and his army would be against me. So, and this person is also coming up with this news and conveying this to me, he was giving nasiha, like good advice, good counsel, with well wishes, right? Well-being, caring for the well-being of Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam. He said that I suggested you should leave. If you don't leave the city, then it will be very difficult for you to save your life. So Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam, he took that advice. He took that advice, and he then made arrangements for leaving that city. And this is mentioned in the Quran, that Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam, he is now leaving the city, and he's also fearful. فَخَرَجَ مِنْهَا خَائِفًا يَتَرَقَّبُ, that he is now exiting that city, but in a state where Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam is fearful that what will happen, maybe I might get caught, and where should I go? Where would I live? So there's this fear while he's exiting the city, leaving the city. And at the same time is also Sayyidina Musa is also making dua to Allah Ta'ala. Qala Rabbi najjini min al-qawmi dhalimin. That, oh my Rabb, give me najat, save me from this qawm, from this people, the zalimin, these people who commit oppression. So Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam, he is now, he's leaving, and we can just visualize this, that he's fearful, and he's looking at the situation on ground, and he realizes that I cannot stay here in this city, otherwise these people, Pharaoh will kill me, Pharaoh and his men will kill me, so I need to exit. So he now makes plans for leaving the city, and as he's leaving the city, he's also making dua to Allah Ta'ala, that, oh my Rabb, save me from these oppressors, save me from these zalimeen, because he understands, this thought comes to his mind, that if I am presented, if Pharaoh captures me, and I have to go meet Pharaoh, and then even if I say to Pharaoh that my intention was never to kill him, Pharaoh won't accept my excuse. Fir'aun is known for his zulm. He's known to be a tyrant. He's known to be an oppressor. And he has hatred for Bani Israel. So Fir'aun would not even entertain my plea. He would not even entertain my statement. He would definitely do zulm against me as well. He would kill me as well. So Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam, he is looking at the situation on ground, and he realizes that the best course of action is for me to leave the city. Now, right here, there is an important lesson for all of us, that whenever a person is in a situation, a difficult situation, our deen teaches us that to whatever extent you can, you should make effort to exit that situation. Maybe you cannot exit, you cannot leave that situation, you cannot change that situation on your own. It's beyond your ability. But to whatever extent you are able to, even if it's just taking one step, like in this situation, Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam, he knows that, where will he go? There is no place for him to go. But what Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam can do in this situation is simply I can just leave this city. That's what is within my ability. That is something which I can do. So whatever I can do, one is responsible for that act. That we make our effort to whatever degree we are able to. And then we leave the result in the hands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is a very important lesson in our deen. That we're not supposed to just put hand on hand and do nothing. And just make dua and some miracle will happen on its own. No, the deen teaches us, and the sunnah teaches us, and we find this in several examples of the life of the Prophet ﷺ as well, that you should analyze the situation that you're in, and to whatever extent you are able, just take a few steps. Whatever steps you can take. 3 steps, 2 steps, 1 step, half a step. Make use of the asbab. Make use of the worldly means which are around you. And that is exactly what Sayyidina Musa alayhi salatu wasalam is doing here. That he is looking at the on-ground situation. He is looking at who's coming, who's going, and one messenger is coming and conveying this news. That look, the news have leaked out that you have killed this person of Fir'aun, and Fir'aun and his army are now gathering. They will want to kill you. So I advise you that you should leave. So Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam, he is watching all of this. He's aware of all of this. He's looking at the situation. So it's not that, our deen is not that if you committed some mistake and, just sit there and do nothing. Don't make use of any asbab. Right? Allah Ta'ala is saying that no, make use of asbab, make use of those worldly means. And in addition, along with that, you should also turn to Allah Ta'ala and make dua. So these are 2 things that we are supposed to utilize in our life. One is that we make use of worldly means that are available. If you're stuck in a situation, we should first analyze that situation, see what can I do? What can I do? What is within my reach? Maybe I cannot extract myself from this situation altogether on my own, but what steps can I take? What steps can I take in the right direction? At least do my part. So that's one thing that we do. Whatever we can do, we make effort. And secondly, we turn to Allah Ta'ala and we ask Allah to put barakah in the result of our efforts. Our efforts, whether they will be successful or not, that lies in the hands of Allah Ta'ala. Success lies in the hands of Allah. Effort is something that we can make. You get an E for effort, right? But success in those efforts comes from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and for that reason, one should always turn to Allah Ta'ala in dua, like here. Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam is making dua, Rabbi najjini min al-qawmi dhalimeen, that, oh my Rabb, grant me najat, save me from these people, from these zalimeen, from these oppressors, from these people who are doing wrong, these wrongdoers. So these two things, they go together. Making use of asbab, the worldly means, and also ruju ilallah, turning towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is a time when Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam has not been blessed with nabuwat. This is an event which is prior to Nabuwat, prior to the manifestation of prophethood. So Sayyidina Musa al-Islam is not yet manifested as Nabuwat. He is a young man. He is a young man, but there is guidance here. There is wisdom that I should first look at the situation and then I should leave this city. So he's leaving the city and he's making this dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I'm mentioning this because a lot of times people say that, no, just do nothing and have tawakkul, have reliance upon Allah. And what they mean by reliance upon Allah is that you do nothing. You don't even make use of any asbab. And that is an incorrect meaning of tawakkul. It's an incorrect meaning of reliance. Reliance on Allah does not mean that you do nothing, you put your hand on hand. In fact, reliance on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala means the exact opposite. That you exhaust all the means which are available to you, and after utilizing whatever means are available to you, then you leave the result in the hands of Allah Ta'ala. So whether you are seeking mercy from Allah Ta'ala, whether you think that Allah Ta'ala is all merciful, but you have to do something to seek out that mercy. Whether Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is Al-Hadi, is the giver of Hidayah, you still need to do something to attract that Hidayah from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is Ar-Razak, He's the giver of rizq, provisions, but you need to do something to seek out that rizq. You make effort and then Allah will give you rizq. Allah will shower His mercy upon you. Allah will give you Hidayah. You have to make effort. So now Sayyidina Musa al-Islam, he has left the city. And now the question is that where should I go? Because there is no place where he can go. He's leaving his homeland. He's leaving his family. He's leaving his whole tribe, the Bani Israel. So he's left everyone. And what he does is that Sayyidina Musa al-Islam, he travels in the direction of Madyan. Madyan. And this is also mentioned in the Quran that وَلَمَّا تَوَجَّهَ تِلْكَاءَ مَدْيَنَ, that when he directed himself towards Madyan, قَالَ, he said, عَسَى رَبِّي أَن يَهْدِيَنِي سَوَاءَ السَّبِيلِ, that perhaps my Lord will guide me to the sound way. Now this again is a very important lesson for all of us. That now Sayyidina Musa al-Islam is going in the direction of Madyan, this city. And what statement, what is he saying? That my Lord will guide me to the sound way, to the correct way. My Lord, my Allah Ta'ala will give me Hidayah, He will guide me. So what we learn from this is that when a person makes dua to Allah, you should make dua with husn zan. You should think well about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You should have good thoughts about Allah. You should make dua with conviction that this dua that I'm making, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will surely accept my dua. Think well about Allah ta'ala while you're making duas. And the reason why this is important is because in one hadith Qudsi, Allah ta'ala says that Ana inda zanni abdi bi, that I am with my servant as they think about me, as he or she thinks about me. So if we think well about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if we have expectation from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He will accept my du'as, then Allah ta'ala will accept our du'as. And on the other hand, if we have misgivings, that I don't know whether my dua will be accepted or not, I'm such a sinful person, maybe my du'as will not be accepted. If we act like that, if we begin to doubt our own du'as, if you're skeptical, then, and we are making du'as with that skepticism, with that doubt, that maybe, I don't know whether this will be accepted, how can I be sure? If we make dua like that, then that dua will be a maybe. It won't be accepted. Because ana inda zanni abdi bi, that I am with my servant as they think about me. So very important that we make dua with the conviction. Sometimes our duas are not accepted immediately There is a delay. And the reason is because we are not making dua with conviction. I'll give an example that if, let's say, there is a person, a righteous person, a pious person, who comes to you and makes a promise that, some promise, whatever promise. So we look at that person, we say that, look, he looks righteous, he is pious, so I believe in him. I believe in his words. He won't go against his words. So we are willing to trust a person. Why? Because he looks pious. Now, this is not some hadith. This is the words of Allah Ta'ala in the Quran. In Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala himself is making a promise to me and you, to everyone. Allah Ta'ala is making a promise to us that ud'uni astajib lakum, that you make dua to me and I will accept your duas. This is a promise that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made to us in the Quran. And yet, if a person now has misgivings about their dua, I don't know whether my duas are accepted. This is tantamount to having misgivings about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Means that we are having misgivings about the promise of Allah ta'ala. That's such a big sin. Having misgivings about individuals, about human beings is blameworthy. So imagine having misgivings about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and a promise that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is making to us in the Quran. And this is what Shaitan wants us to think. This thought is coming from Shaitan. He wants us to think like that look at you, how will your duas be accepted? And we should immediately reply, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not saying in the Quran that only the pious should make dua and I will accept the duas of the pious. And those who are impious or those who are disobedient, I won't accept their duas. Allah Ta'ala is not saying that in the Quran. Allah Ta'ala is making a general statement, a complete statement which includes everyone. Ud'uni, that all of you, whether men, women, young, old, obedient, disobedient, even those who are unbelievers, even they, ud'uni, you just turn to me, make dua to me, and I, Allah Ta'ala, astajib lakum, will accept your duas. So this differentiation is something that we make. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not differentiating, is not discriminating. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that all of you, whoever you are, wherever you are, you just make dua to me and I will accept your duas. We read in the Quran that Allah Ta'ala accepted the dua of Shaitan even. Shaitan, the number one enemy. His duas were also accepted. When Shaitan he refused to do sajda and he was being thrown out from the assembly of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he made dua to Allah that Allah give me respite until the day of judgment so that I can lead mankind astray. And Allah Ta'ala accepted the dua of Shaitan. So if Shaitan's dua can be accepted when he refused to do sajda, then why wouldn't our duas be accepted when we have already done sajda? If Shaitan's duas are accepted when he's being thrown out from the assembly of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then why wouldn't our duas be accepted when we have entered into the court of Allah? We're in the masjid, we're on the musalla, we're standing before Allah in the presence of Allah. Why wouldn't our duas be accepted? Surely they will be accepted. But the important thing, the important adab and the etiquette that we're learning here is that when you make dua, you should make dua with yaqeen. Make dua with certainty, with conviction, with umeed, with good thoughts about Allah, with good expectations. And then your dua will be accepted. Do not make, in Hadith Mubarakah it comes that a person should not make dua with doubt, with skepticism. For example, the Prophet ﷺ said that, a person might make dua like this, that, oh Allah, if health is better for me, then make me healthy. So the Prophet ﷺ said, no, make dua with certainty. Ask Allah, Allah, give me health. Give me health. So we should make dua with yaqeen. So that is what Sayyidina Musa alayhi salatu wasalam is doing. That first dua is saying that, Ya Allah, save me from these wrongdoers, give me najat, and oh my Lord, guide me. Surely you will guide me to the right way. So then what happens here is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala placed this in the heart of Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam, that he will go to Madyan. And now when he enters the city of Madyan, so what he sees, what does he see there? He sees that there is a well. And there are some people who have their goats with them, their animals with them, and they are at the well, crowded at the well, and they're trying to give water, take out water for their animals, for their goats. So there's a crowd there, crowd of men. There's like an ijtima, a whole gathering of people there who are with their animals and extracting water to give it to their animals. And behind the men, there are two women, young women who are standing, and they also have their goats with them, their animals with them. And they're also waiting for their turn because they want to give water to their animals. But because there is this crowd, this rush of men before them, and these two women, they know where should they go? They're just waiting for their own turn. They cannot step inside, they cannot step ahead. So they're just on one corner, on one side, waiting that when these men will disperse, then finally we will get our turn, we'll be able to take water out and be able to feed our animals. So Sayyidina Musa والسلام, he saw this and he thought to himself that these women, they are in need, right? They are in need. And he saw that these women, these are girls, in fact, young women, right? Girls, they do not have that strength. And they also need some support, they need some assistance. So he realized, and this is what really humanity is, that you assess situations around you and you see, is there any person in need? Is there any person in my society, in my community, who needs help from me? Who needs help? So Sayyidina Musa, he recognized that these two women, they need some help. And he presented himself. So he went ahead and he asked them that وَوَجَدَ مِن دُونِهِمْ إِمْرَأَتَيْنِ تَزُودَانِ. He found a sight that there were two women who were driving back their flocks. So Sayyidina Musa asked them, قَالَ مَا خَطْبُكُمَا, that what is your circumstance? Why are you standing here? And then they replied, قَالَتَ لَا نَسْقِي, that we cannot water our animals حَتَّى يُصْدِرَ الرِّعَاءُ, until these men, they have dispatched, until they have dispersed. These shepherds have gone. So we are waiting for our time. We're waiting for our turn. وَأَبُونَا شَيْخٌ كَبِيرٌ, and our father is an old man. Our father is an old man. So they give the reason that we are here to give water to our animals, but we are here because our father was not able to come, and our father is an old man. So we had to come instead of our father. And now while we are here, we are waiting for our turn because these men are already there in front of us. And while these men are there, it's not possible for us to step ahead. So we're just waiting for our turn, that when these men will be free, when they will disperse, then we'll be able to provide water for our animals. So we know that these two women, they were the daughters of Hazrat Shoaib alayhi salatu wassalam. And Hazrat Shoaib alayhi salatu wassalam was also a prophet of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who was living in the city of Madyan. And in Quran Kareem, whenever Allah ta'ala mentions a story, the intention is not to tell you every single detail about that story. The intention is to give you lessons, to give you rulings, to give us some principles by which we can also live our life. So the Mufassirin, underneath this ayah, they extract one lesson that if women feel that there is a need to earn, then, or to fulfill their needs, then they can actually step out of the house. It's permissible for them to step out, right? Like we can see here that these women, there was a need because their father was old and there were no men around. So they had to step out, and hence it's permissible for the women to step out if there is a need. But even when they stepped out, we see that the Quran mentions that they stepped out with the proper decorum, this dress code of haya. They had haya with them. Yani they came out with the guidelines of haya, of chastity, modesty. So they fulfilled all of the requirements of chastity and modesty, and then they stepped out. Right? So this is a lesson that we learn. Now, in one riwayah, in one narration, it comes that Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam, he asked those two girls that, here on this well, there are so many people. Is there any other well in this locality? And they said that yes, there is one other well, but there is a very heavy rock which is placed on the mouth of that well, and no one has the strength to remove that rock. So Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam, he asked the two girls that lead me to that well. And he went, when he went there, he saw that literally there was a well there, and there was a rock which was covering the mouth of that well. Now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had blessed Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam with a lot of strength, with a lot of power, and he removed that boulder. He removed that rock, and as soon as he removed that rock, water started coming out. And in this way, he was able to give water to the two girls, and they used that water to feed their animals, and then they came back to their house. So the girls, they went back, and now Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam is all alone there. And now where should he go? What should he do? Where would he eat from? So this is now when Quran mentions that the dua that Sayyidina Musa alayhi salatu wasalam made. Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam, he reclined, he went, there was this tree there, and he sat underneath the shade of that tree. And again, imagine, visualize yourself that this is a state where Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam, he is hungry, must be thirsty, must be tired. He doesn't have any house, no place to go to, no friend, no friendship, no one to which he can sort of sit and have a conversation with. He can openly express his feelings to them. He's all alone. So in that state, there is this one tree, and he sits underneath the shade of that tree, and then he makes this very beautiful dua. Rabbi inni lima anzalta ilayya min khairin fakir. That, oh my Rabb, whatever khair, whatever blessings, whatever favor, whatever help you can send upon me, Allah, I'm needy of that. I'm needy of that. I'm fakir. I'm in need of whatever blessings, favors, help, assistance you can shower me with. Now, this is a time, like I mentioned, when Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam has so many needs. It's not just one need that he has. There is a whole list of needs, needy about so many things. Needy about, I need a house, I need a place to stay, I need something to eat, something to drink, I need some work, I need some livelihood, I need some way of earning a living. There is a whole list of needs. There's not just one, two things that he needs. He needs so many things. And now if I have to ask Allah Ta'ala, what should I ask? Right? What should I ask? There are so many things that I need. Right? How do I list everything before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? But Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam, he asks Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that Allah, you know my needs. Allah, you know what I need. And Ya Allah, you give whatever, you know whatever is best for me. So whatever khair, whatever favor, whatever ni'matin, whatever blessings, you will send it to me. Allah, I'm needy of all of that. Now this dua, this is a stage that comes in the life of every individual. This is a particular stage which comes in the life of every individual, where a person, sometimes you might be faced and with a moment where you don't know what I should ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for. Sometimes it might be because there are so many things that you need. There's a whole list in front of you, and you don't even know how should I begin. What should I ask? What should I say to Allah Ta'ala? I have so many needs. I have so many zururiyat. I have so many desires, so many wants. I don't even know how to begin. I don't know how to put my needs into words. I don't know how to ask. I don't know how to present myself before Allah. Right? Sometimes you don't know how to raise my hands and what words should I utter. So this is a dua for that time. This is the dua that Sayyidina Musa is teaching us. That how should you ask? What should you ask? You should make this dua. Rabbi inni lima anzalta ilayya min khairin fakir. That, oh Allah, I have so many needs, and Allah, you know all of my needs. You know those needs which I know of, and you also know of those needs which I need, but I don't know that that these are my needs. Allah, you know all my needs. And Allah, I turn to you and I ask you that whatever you shower me with, whatever assistance and help and favors, Allah, you give me, Allah, I'm needy of all of those things. I'm needy of that. Allah, I'm muhtaj of that, of whatever help you can give me. Many times it happens that when you are at some sacred place like Baitullah Sharif, or at a sacred time, maybe Laylatul Qadr, last odd nights of Ramadan, and you have raised your hand to make dua to Allah Ta'ala, and now you don't know what should I ask Allah Ta'ala for. Right? What should I ask? Nothing is coming to your mind. That what should I ask? What should I ask? So then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala might place this dua. This is the dua to think about. That what can I ask? Whatever I will ask, Allah Ta'ala can give me more than that. Whatever I ask will be less than what Allah wants to give to me. That's how we should think. That whatever I can ask, that will be less than what Allah Ta'ala wants to give to me. And at this time, at such moments of our life, all we need to do is just raise our hands, extend our hands, and ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Ya Allah, whatever you want to bless me with, Allah, I have presented myself before you. And then Allah Ta'ala will give you all of the blessings. Because truly, what we ask, our asking will be less than what Allah wants to give to us. So instead of us presenting a whole list that, Ya Allah, I want A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, instead of doing that, we just say that, Ya Allah, I presented my hands before you. I've raised my hands before you. Ya Allah, I'm here before you. You just spread your arms before Allah, and then all the blessings would come into your lap. All the blessings will come down upon you. So this is a stage that a person may experience in their life. Many times it happens when you're at Haram Sharif in Makkah Mukarramah. that you're before Baytullah Sharif. I want to ask Allah Ta'ala for something, but what should I ask? So we can learn from this dua of Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam, a Quranic dua, that don't leave asking at that time. Don't say, I should just leave, right? No, you should still ask, but ask like this. Rabbi inni lima anzalta ilayya min khairin fakir. Just spread your arms before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, ask Allah ta'ala that Allah, you know my needs better than I do. You know my wants better than I do. Allah, I ask you that you bless me with whatever blessing you will bless me with. Allah, I'm needy of that. You know better. And ya Allah, I turn to you and I extend my hands before you. Allah, you bless me with your treasures. So Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam, he makes this dua. After some time, the two women whom he had helped, one of them, she returns back. And the way she comes back, Quran mentions that in the Quran, Allah mentions that in the Quran, that فَجَاءَتْهُ إِحْدَاهُمَا تَمْشِي عَلَى اسْتِحْيَاءٍ, that one of the two women, she came to Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam, walking with shyness, walking with haya, walking with chastity, with this modesty. So the Quran has also mentioned the way she came, that she came with haya. And in one riwayat, in one narration, it comes that she had some dupatta or some chadar through which she had covered her face. She had veiled her face. And in that manner, she came to Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam. And when she came near, she said that Inna abi yad'uka liyajziyaka ajra ma saqaita lana, that my father is inviting you because he wants to reward you for having giving water to us and our animals. So my father is calling you because he wants to reward you for the good deed that you did with us. He wants to compensate you for your assistance. Now, it's important to understand that when Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam helped the two women, he did not help them because he wanted some compensation in return. He did that because of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It was fillah lillah billah. It was done for the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, not because he wanted some money or some compensation or some badla in return. So Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam, however, he did not reject this. He could have said that I don't need any compensation, I won't come. He could have said that. But he did not say that. Why? Because remember the dua, he had asked Allah Ta'ala that, Ya Allah, I'm needy of any khair, of any good things. I'm in need of that. So when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala himself is opening a pathway for him, then you should not spurn that pathway. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala himself wants to give something to you, is showing you the way, then you should not block that way. And this is again teaching us a very important lesson, right? That when you ask Allah Ta'ala for something and then Allah Ta'ala gives it to you or makes some arrangement by which you get that thing, then abdiyat, our servitude is, our humility lies in accepting that this is coming from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam had asked for a khair. Anzalta ilayya min khairin. Allah, grant khair upon me. Shower your khair upon me. So when this door opened up, where this one person is calling, so Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam, he accepted that offer. This is again a display of servitude, of humility, of ajizi. That, Ya Allah, if you want to give it to me, then I'm here, I'm willing to take it from you. So hence he accepts and he goes with that woman. And now he reaches the house of Hazrat Shoaib alayhi salatu wassalam. And when he enters, he sees that Hazrat Shoaib alayhi salatu wassalam, he has laid down a whole dastarkhan, his whole dawat, like a food different varieties of food in front. And when Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam, he sees this, now he refuses. Now he refuses, right? Because now he says that I helped your daughter not because I want food in return. I did this because of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So now he opens it up. He opens and he clarifies that when I assisted your daughters and I gave water, I did not do so because I had any intention for getting a reward from you, for getting any compensation from you. That was not my intention. So when Sayyidina Musa when he clarifies, so Hazrat Shoaib he also clarifies. He says that no. This dawat and this food is not because we want to compensate you for the help that you offered to us. Rather, this is just our graciousness. This is just our tradition that whenever any guest comes to our house, so we honor our guests and we provide them with food, and we will be very happy if you accept this dawat from us. And then Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam, he accepted that dawah, he accepted that invitation, and he ate with Sayyidina Shoaib alayhi salatu. Now, as time passes by, there is a bit more friendliness and they open up. And then the girl, she says to her father that, why don't you keep Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam here in the household and hire him as a servant, hire him as a worker. He can work for us. Because, she understands that, our father is old, so father cannot go out and work. And it does not befit us that we, the two girls, the two sisters, that we should go out and be with the men and having to cope with that environment. So why not we hire Sayyidina Musa as a worker, and he can help us with the outside chores, right? Whatever chores which need to be done outside the house, he can help us with that. So she makes this suggestion to her father. She makes a suggestion to her father. And in that suggestion, she also says that inna khayra man istajartal qawiyul amin. That indeed the best one you can hire is the strong and the trustworthy. So she mentions two attributes of Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam. And these are two attributes which are really important for a person to determine when they're hiring someone as a worker. You need these two qualities for a good worker. That they should, number one, be strong, a kavi. And kavi means both physical strength as well as mental, intellectual strength. Both types of kuwat and strength are included here in kavi. And the second attribute is amin, trustworthy, amanatdar, trustworthy. And this woman, she had already experienced that Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam possesses these two qualities. She saw how Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam had lifted that stone, that boulder, that rock, heavy rock. So that displays the strength of Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam. And then how amin and trustworthy he was. In one riwayat, in one narration, it comes that when they were walking back to the house, Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam, he said that I will walk in front of you and you can walk behind and you can just direct me. Where should I turn? Right, left, go straight? Because this was part of his humility, part of his shyness, that he wanted to keep his gaze down. He wanted to control his gaze and he just wanted to be in front so that he can be directed where to go, and there's no occasion or no opportunity for him to misdirect his gaze. So she had witnessed that as well, that how amin and how trustworthy he was in that respect. So then Hazrat Shoaib alayhi salatu, he accepted that suggestion and he turned to Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam and he said that there are two tasks, two deals that I want to make with you. One is that if you can stay with me for 8 years, I want to hire you as a worker and I will compensate with you. You can tend to our goats and take care of them. and I will compensate you for that. And second thing is that I want that one of my daughters, I want her to be married to you in nikah. So in this way, we see that Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam, when he made that dua, he accepts this offer and he works with Hazrat Shoaib alayhi salam for 8 years and then 2 more years, 8 plus 2, 10 years. And he also marries one of the daughters of Sayyidina Shoaib alayhi salatu wasalam, a daughter of a Nabi of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And in this way, we see that, look at the beauty that Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam made dua that Allah, I'm in need of every khair. Any blessing that you can send my way, I'm in need of that. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam with a house and a house of a Nabi of Allah ta'ala. A house where he had the sohbat of a Nabi of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And secondly, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed him with a wife, with a spouse. And a spouse who was the daughter of a Nabi of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. A spouse who again was brought up, had the upbringing of a Nabi, of a Prophet of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam relatives. And his relatives was now a Nabi of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, related to a Nabi of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And what was the cause of all of this? This is the kubuliyat of dua. And now he also has work. There is a means through which he can earn his livelihood as well. So he got everything. He got the house, he got work, he got a source of living, he got a spouse, he got the sohbat, the company of a Nabi of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He got a relative, someone whom he could confide in, Hazrat Shoaib alayhi salatu wasalam. And what was the reason for all of these blessings? The dua that he made to Allah ta'ala, a beautiful dua. Rabbi inni lima anzalta ilayya min khairin fakir. So we understand that the way to get ni'mate and blessings from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, again, those two principles that I mentioned at the start. One is that you make whatever effort you can. Right? Here, Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam, he helped the two girls. He did khidmat. He made dua. And then he got the sohbat of Hazrat Shoaib alayhi salam. And then eventually, all of you, we know the story. Just to complete the story, what happens later on is that now, after completing 10 years in service, he takes permission that now I want to leave and I want to go back to my own homeland. So he gets permission from Hazrat Shoaib alayhi salam and he leaves with his spouse, with his wife. And his wife, she's expecting, and on the way, it's winters, and he realizes that my wife, her tabiyat, her health is not good. She needs some help. She is in need. So Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam, he asks her to sit at one place, and he says that I can see this fire which is far away. So let me go in that direction, and I might be able to get some fire for you, which can help you, which can keep you warm. And this might reduce your suffering, your distress. So he goes there towards the fire, and that is the place, that is the occasion when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blesses Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam with nabuwat. He went with this niyat, with this intention to serve his wife. And Allah ta'ala blesses him with nabuwat, with prophethood. So what we learn from this is that we should help other people, khidmat, serving other people, doing whatever we can, even if it's one step, half a step, and presenting ourselves with humility before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in dua, and asking Allah ta'ala that, Allah, you know my needs better than me. I'm just raising my hands before you. Ya Allah, just shower everything over me. Shower everything over me. Allah, give everything that what you think is best for me. Allah give everything to me. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant tawfiq to all of us that we can also learn these lessons from this story and we can implement them in our lives as well. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant each one of us the taste and the delight and the zawq and the passion of making du'as. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us the tawfiq that we can also make whatever effort we are able to make. May Allah ta'ala make that effort easy. And may Allah ta'ala also grant us the tawfiq to make du'as to Him. And we make the same dua that Sayyidina Musa alayhi salatu wasalam made. That, Ya Allah, Rabbi inni lima anzalta ilayya min khairin fakir. That, O our Rabb, we are needy for any and every blessing that you will shower upon us. Allah, we ask you for all your blessings. You know our needs better than we do. Ya Rabbi Kareem, we ask you that you shower all your blessings upon us and you fulfill all the needs that we have. May Allah Ta'ala accept this dua. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept our intention. Wa akhiru da'wana and alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. سبحان ربي الوهاب اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم ربنا ظلمنا أنفسنا وإن لم تغفر لنا وترحمنا لنكونن من الخاسرين ربي إني لما أنزلت إلي من خير فقير ربنا هب لنا من أزواجنا وذرياتنا قرة أعين واجعلنا للمتقين إماما رب ارحمهما كما ربياني صغيرا ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي ربنا آتنا من لدنك رحمة وهيئ لنا من أمرنا رشدا. Ya Rabbi Kareem, Ya Allah, we ask you that you accept all the du'as that we have made. Ya Rabbi Kareem, all the du'as that we have made in this month of Ramadan, all the du'as that, Ya Allah, we made before the month of Ramadan. Ya Rabbi Kareem, Ya Allah, all the du'as that we made at any blessed time in our life, at any blessed place in our life. Ya Rabbi Kareem, Ya Allah, we ask that you accept all our du'as and you shower your rahmah upon all of us. Ya Rabbi Kareem, this is the month of rahmah. This is the month of maghfirah. Allah, this is the month of blessings. This is the month of Ramadan. Ya Rabbi Kareem, we ask that you grant us all the barakat that are there in this month of Ramadan. Allah, grant us all the rahmat that are there in this month of Ramadan. Allah, grant us all the anwarat and the tajalliyat which are there in this month of Ramadan. Ya Rabbi Kareem, Ya Allah, grant us all your inamat and favors upon us in this month of Ramadan. Ya Rabbi Kareem, Ya Allah, truly make this month a month of forgiveness for all of us. Allah, make this month a month of earning your qurb and closeness for all of us. Allah, make this month a month of increasing in our love for you in this month. Ya Rabbi Kareem, Ya Allah, make this month a month of change for all of us, a month where we can discover you, a month where we can draw close to you, a month where we can fall in love with you, a month where we can purify our hearts, we can purify our nerves, we can cleanse our heart, we can incline our hearts towards your remembrance. Ya Rabbi Kareem, Ya Allah, make this month a month of Quran for all of us, a month where we can connect with the Quran, we can increase in our love of the Quran, we can increase in our recitation of the Quran, we can become Sahib-e Quran, we can become amongst the Ahle Quran. Allah, make this month a month of Sunnah for all of us, a month where we can connect with the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. We can increase in our love for the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. We can increase in our amal on the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. We can beautify ourselves with the Sunnah, the Zahir of the Sunnah, the Batin of the Sunnah. From the tips of our hair to the soles of our feet, we can beautify, adorn ourselves with the Sunnah of Nabi alayhi salatu wassalam. Allah, make this month a month of zikr for all of us, a month where we can remember you abundantly. We can do zikr-e-kasir,
Allah, make this month a month where we can remember you abundantly, whether we are sitting or standing or lying down on our sides, where we can become an embodiment of this ayat of those people who remember you. يَذْكُرُونَ اللَّهَ قِيَامًا وَقُعُودًا وَعَلَى جُنُوبِكُمْ. Allah, make us such that we remember you each and every moment of our life, that we're not distracted from you even for a moment. Allah, we are not heedless of you even for a moment, even for a fraction of a moment. Ya Rabbi Kareem, Ya Allah, save us from ghafla, save us from heedlessness, save us from ignorance. Ya Rabbi Kareem, Ya Allah. Grant us your zikr, grant us steadfastness in your remembrance. Allah, make us such that nothing can distract us from your remembrance, nothing can take us away from your remembrance. Allah, no amount of trade and commerce, no amount of our engagement with the dunya can make us ghafil and heedless of you. Ya Rabbi Kareem, Ya Allah, make us strong in our remembrance. Allah, make us such that we remember you. Ya Rabbi Kareem, Ya Allah, make this month a month that we can attain taqwa. Ya Rabbi Kareem, you yourself have said in the Quran, لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ, that you have hope in us, that we can get taqwa in this month. Ya Rabbi Kareem, Ya Allah, we take hope from your hope. Allah, your hope gives us hope. Ya Rabbi Kareem, Ya Allah, we take hope from your hope that you can make us amongst the people of taqwa in this month of Ramadan. Ya Rabbi Kareem, Ya Allah, grant us taqwa in our eyes. Allah, grant us taqwa in our ears. Grant us taqwa on our tongue. Grant us taqwa in our thinking, in our thoughts. Allah, grant us taqwa in our hearts, in our feelings. Grant us taqwa in our limbs. Allah, grant us taqwa in our zahir. Grant us taqwa in our batin. Allah, increase us in our level of taqwa. Allah, include our names amongst the muttaqeen. Ya Rabbi Kareem, Ya Allah, write down our names amongst the muttaqeen. Decree for us a life of taqwa. Decree for us a life of tahara. Decree for us a life of purity, of tazkiyah. Ya Rabbi Kareem, Ya Allah, we ask you for all the blessings which are associated with taqwa. Ya Rabbi Kareem, we ask you that for all the means through which we can attain taqwa. Ya Rabbi Kareem, make this path of taqwa easy for us. Allah, make it easy for us to increase in our taqwa. Ya Rabbi Kareem, Ya Allah, we present ourselves to you tonight. Ya Allah, we ask you that you accept us, that you change us. Allah, our kulub, our hearts are between your two fingers. You kallibuha kaifa yasha. You can flip our hearts wherever you wish. Ya Rabbi Kareem, Ya Allah, flip our hearts towards your love. Flip our hearts towards a life that is pleasing to you. Flip our hearts towards a life of taqwa and tahara. Flip our hearts towards a life that is according to the Quran, Sunnah, and Sharia. Allah, grant us an Imani life, an Islami life, an Ihsani life. Ya Allah, grant us a Quran-based life, a Sunnah-based life. Ya Rabbi Kareem, Ya Allah, accept this dua from all of us tonight. Ya Rabbi Kareem, whatever pious intentions any one of us have in our hearts, Allah, accept those intentions. Ya Allah, Ya Rabbi Kareem, fulfill any and every need that we have in our life, whether that need pertains to the dunya or that need pertains to our akhirah or our deen. Ya Rabbi Kareem, Ya Allah, you are the provider of our needs. Allah, you are the caretaker. You are the taker. Allah, you are the provider for all our needs. Ya Rabbi Kareem, Ya Allah, provide for our needs. Allah, fulfill our needs. Ya Rabbi Kareem, Ya Allah, Allah, assist us in our matters, in our affairs. Ya Rabbi Kareem, whatever obstacles any one of us are facing, any one of us is facing in this path towards you, Ya Rabbi Kareem, we ask you that you remove those obstacles. Allah, remove those difficulties on the path. Make it easy for us to come close to you. Ya Rabbi Kareem, if you have given us all the blessings, and we, just because of our laziness, we're not able to come to you. Allah, we ask that you remove the laziness of our soul. Allah, remove the laziness of our nerves. Ya Rabbi Kareem, remove the laziness of our nerves. Allah, make us active in our deen, proactive in our deen. Allah, pull us close towards you. Ya Rabbi Kareem, Ya Allah, grant us your qurb, grant us your closeness, your nearness. Allah, make us such that daimi, forever, and Allah, we are able to think about you, then we're not distracted from you even for a moment, even for the blink of an eye. Ya Rabbi Kareem, make this easy for us. Make this path of zikr easy for us. Make this path of remembrance easy for us. Make this path of your qurb easy for us. Make this path of your muhabba and mahbubiyya easy for all of us. Ya Rabbi Kareem, accept these du'as from all of us tonight. Allah, whatever we have asked, Allah, we ask that you grant us according to your own Shan-e Karimi, your own Shani Rahimi, and whatever du'as that we should have asked but we weren't able to ask, Ya Rabbi Kareem, we ask that you grant us those ni'mat as well. Allah, whatever khair, whatever blessings, Ya Allah, the Prophet ﷺ asked you for, Allah, we ask you a share in those blessings as well. Ya Rabbi Kareem, whatever shuru that the Prophet ﷺ sought your refuge in, Allah, we also seek refuge in you from all of those shurur, those tests, those trials, those tribulations, those fitnas. Ya Rabbi Kareem, Ya Allah, protect our iman. Allah, safeguard our iman. Ya Rabbi Kareem, grant us a life of iman, a death on iman. Enable us, Ya Allah, that we can be raised up in a state of iman. Ya Rabbi Kareem, Ya Allah, grant us, Ya Allah, all of these du'as. And Ya Rabbi Kareem, accept these du'as from all of us tonight. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم وصلى الله تعالى على حبيبه خير خلقه محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين.